Do you see the players of today's basketball with that mindset to achieve greatness?
It's hard to be hungry when you have. Simple as that. I mean, if you don't have, you are willing to do whatever you have. So my mental approach was go in, do my job, be the best basketball player I can be, and all the chips and everything outside of that, I had people that were handling that, you know. But basketball court, I'm handling it, right? And now it's like, it's a prerequisite. You know, everybody has to have a logo.
And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Michael Jordan just dropped a wild truth that cracked open everything messed up in today's NBA, exposing a contract clause so real that no modern star would ever sign it. The moment current players heard about it, they didn't just say no. They laughed, joked, and clowned the whole idea. What Jordan cared about most in basketball is the exact thing this generation keeps dodging. And this isn't some simple old versus new debate. These are two totally different mindsets crashing into each other. And the numbers show one side actually works. Jordan sat down with Mike Tirico in his first real public role since retirement and revealed something unbelievable that nobody even mentions anymore because it straight up doesn't exist in today's league.
Your love of the game is still there. I can feel it from you, sure. Right? How did that love of the game fuel your career?
It was the basis of my career. My love of the game within my contract, which, you know, I'm pretty sure most contracts now, I'm actually positive now, don't have that clause within the contract where...
You had a clause in your contract.
Love of the game contract, right. That if I was driving with you down the street and I see a basketball game on the side of the road, I can go play in that basketball game. And if I get hurt, my contract is still guaranteed. I love the game so much that I would never let someone take the opportunity for me to play the game away from it.
The legendary love of the game clause. And what it allowed was crazy. If Jordan was cruising down a street and spotted a random pickup run, he could stop the car, hop in, hoop with anybody, and even if he got hurt, his contract stayed fully guaranteed. Jordan loved the game so deep that he made sure no team ever controlled when or where he could play.
It might not be in the team's best interest, in your best interest to play all 82. Is that something you thought about at all since you made the goal?
I mean, that's a goal, but yeah, we'll see.
The next day.
I'm available to go and be in the pro. If OBJ shows up, he might score 100.
Meanwhile, today, teams won't even let players ride a motorcycle, touch a ski slope, or pull up to a local gym without permission. They got long insurance rules, banned activities lists, and fines waiting. The whole system is designed to protect the investment, keep the assets safe, and keep guys bubble wrapped until tip-off. But Jordan flipped the script completely. He told his team straight up he would never let anyone take away his chance to hoop. Ever. That's how real his passion ran. Jordan didn't just talk about loving the game, he lived it.
As opposed to now, where you don't have it, players probably don't play. Now, they get individual attention with their trainer.
Sure.
You know, ready to go out and shoot 100 shots or 1,000 shots. I found it to my benefit was, go play basketball, man. That's what you did. That's what you grew up doing.
As a rookie, he played all 82 games. Not 75, not 70, but every single one. And he kept doing it. 9 full seasons where he didn't miss one game. That's a level of dedication today's league barely recognizes anymore. Compare that to today, where LeBron James has played all 82 games one time in 22 seasons, Kevin Durant has done it 3 times in 17 years, and Stephen Curry hasn't done it once. These are the dudes supposedly chasing Jordan's legacy, but MJ's clause went way deeper than just showing up for NBA tip-offs.
We come to practice, he's on one leg. Like he was hurt the second year, he was on one leg the whole year and played 82 games. Wow. And so he practiced every day and he played every game on one leg. And so he's like, man, MJ, why don't you just sit out? How can I be the leader of the team and sit out and y'all going through all the credit? I gotta be there.
I twist my ankle and I had a teammate, David Greenwood. He says, you know, you twist your ankle, young fella, come over and sit with me. You know, this is, you need to. I said, no, man, I'm trying to make a name for myself. There's no way I can sit. You know, I need to get out there and show what I'm capable of. I want to play. I want to win. I want to make an impact. Larry Bird took a whole summer to work on his left hand, right? He did it by playing basketball.
Jordan was outside all summer playing real hoops, Pickup runs, scrimmages, competitive games where nobody went soft on him. That's how he sharpened his game every year. He even talked about how Larry Bird spent a whole summer working on his left hand, not standing alone in a gym with a trainer, but by hooping in actual games, real pressure, real defenders, real decisions. When you're in a game, you gotta react, compete, and solve problems on the spot, and that's what builds greatness. Modern players barely touch that anymore. They just do isolated workouts, shoot 1,000 open looks, and drill moves with no defender breathing on them.
So it's May. My season's been over. I'm a third-year guy in the league. I call you. Michael, what do I do from now until the season starts to get better? What are the things you tell me that are important?
First of all, is your passion. You know, there's something about your passion or wanting to get better that drives that energy. I mean, when I say passion, that means if I have a love for ice cream, I mean, real deep love for ice cream, I'm gonna do everything I can to go find ice cream.
Right.
Or find that flavor of ice cream.
What flavor, by the way?
Butter pecan for me.
Okay, go ahead.
Just so you know.
Uh-huh.
But in terms of, you know, if I had, basketball was that type of love for me. You know, I had to find a way to make sure I was the best basketball player I could be.
Yeah, that stuff helps, but it ain't the same as battling double teams, getting bumped, and figuring things out in real time. Jordan always understood that the best way to prepare for basketball was to actually play basketball. Not controlled drills, not staged workouts, real games where pride is on the line.
You know why, right?
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm part of the reason why everybody tries to get a logo, but
Brand, right?
A brand,
right? Brand Jordan.
But the thing is that brand is established based on what I did on the basketball court. You know, I didn't put the brand before I put the work. Mm-hmm. You know, right. I put the work first, and then the brand evolved based on the work.
Right.
A lot of times it's different. You see it in every sport, not just basketball, football, baseball. Everybody's walking around with a logo and a hat, and I get it. But whatever I did here is never going to affect what I do on the basketball.
You know, there's no turn it on here, turn it off here. It's just 110% at all times.
Then Jordan said something that hit straight at why today's NBA feels so different. It's hard to be hungry when you already have everything. And that's real. When you don't have something, you grind for it with sacrifice, competition, and work because you need it. But today, some players are set for life before they even prove themselves. Guaranteed deals, shoe contracts, huge followings, and that hunger fades fast.
What do you think of when you hear the term load management thrown around?
It shouldn't be needed, first and foremost. You know, I never wanted to miss a game because it was an opportunity to prove. It was something that I felt like, you know, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy.
Like you mentioned a little bit about today's game, because we had Club on here and he talked about load management. He said, I don't know what the hell that is. Where is it going? And that's number one. And number two, how do we get it back?
Even for me, I love the NBA game, but then I turn on to a game, right? And then the stars are not playing because of load management. Mm-hmm. It's hurting the game.
That desperation that creates legends, it just isn't built the same anymore. Jordan kept his approach simple. Lock in, do the job, be the best hooper alive, and let everything else fall where it falls. He had people to handle the business and the brand, but once he stepped on that court, it was all him. His focus, his fire, his world. Everything outside of hooping came second for Jordan, always. But now the whole thing is flipped, where players chase the brand first. They want the logo, the signature shoe, the flashy lifestyle before they've earned anything. Jordan even called it out himself, saying, everybody has to have a logo now, and everybody needs a brand. And he knows part of that came from him.
You know, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy way up on top who probably worked his ass off to get a ticket or to get money to buy the ticket.
You really cared about the guy who sat in the top deck at the Palace in Auburn Hills to watch you when you came to Detroit?
Yeah, because I know he's probably yelling at me and I want to shut him up. So if the guys are coming to watch me play, I don't want to miss that opportunity. Now, physically, if I can't do it, then I can't do it. But physically, if I can do it and I just don't feel like doing it, That's a whole different lens.
Yeah, the Jordan brand changed the whole world and proved basketball could open doors way bigger than the court. But here's the key difference. Jordan's brand was built on what he did in games, not on hype. He didn't create a logo and then hope people would support it. He went out, dominated the league, won championships, became the best player alive, and then the brand followed. The work came first, the greatness came first, and the brand was just the result, never the goal. Today, it's the opposite. Players try to build a brand before they've actually done anything, dropping logos, catchphrases, and merch lines while they're still struggling to learn how to win consistently. And Jordan's whole point is simple. When you focus on building a brand instead of building your game, you're moving wrong. The brand is supposed to validate your performance, not replace it.
Kobe didn't want to disappoint his fans, especially the ones in the 300 sections that saved up to watch him play. I remember asking him why he couldn't just sit a game out because he was hurting. He said, "What about the fans that saved up to watch me play just once?" He never forgot about his fans.
You play basketball 2.5 hours a day, 3 hours a day, right? That's your job. That's what you get paid to do as an NBA player. What are you doing the other 21 hours? I mean, to me, that's when you should be preparing for your next day of work.
But too many players twist it up. They think if the marketing looks right and the image shines enough, the success will magically appear after. That's not how greatness works. And in the social media era, it's even worse. Some players care more about going viral than actually winning, more about their off-court image than what they do in real games.
You know, and I had a conversation this summer with a high executive at Minnesota. And he was talking about Anthony Edwards.
Yep, Ant-Man.
I heard during the course of the year that, you know, they were double teaming me. You know, he didn't know how to deal with the double team. Well, that's the highest respect that you can ever get if a team feels like they got to double team you. Now, how do you figure out a way to break that double team? Move without the ball, move into the post, get in scoring position so that the double team, you can act before the double. All those simple things. So, yeah, those are the types of conversations I try to have when players seek that information.
Sitting out matchups to stay fresh while showing up to every sponsored shoot and brand event like nothing happened. The priorities today are all twisted. Jordan straight up said that if he played in this era, his game would validate anything he did off the court, not the other way around. Basketball first, everything else second, always. And the numbers backing up his mindset are honestly embarrassing for a lot of modern stars. Jordan played all 82 games 9 times, but it gets even wilder. At age 40, in his final Wizards season, he still played every game and averaged 37 minutes a night. And here's the crazy part.
To have a long career, that's the goal, to be in the league for 20 years. I tell you, that's the goal.
You know, it's all about winning championships and winning.
Artis Gilmore told me one time, he played for Chicago, he said, if you expect to play a long time in this league, you better quit mopping up the floor. And I thought, well, he's crazy because that's what basketball is all about.
Bird takes it away from Wilkins, goes to the floor and gets it up ahead.
Yeah, I'm 10, 12 years in, I got 4 MVPs and 4 championships, like, but do I still want to do this shit? You know what I'm saying?
Because you know how hard it is.
Some people say, I want to go play baseball.
Right?
Yeah. And then I want to come back. Or some people say, I'm going to go 22 straight.
If Jordan logged those minutes in today's NBA, he'd lead the entire league. In 2022 to 2023, not a single player averaged 37 minutes. A 40-year-old MJ would outwork every so-called superstar in their prime today. That's unreal. And he did all this before players had the modern perks they get now. Jordan didn't have private jets for every road trip, didn't have teams of nutrition pros and sleep specialists, didn't have cryo chambers or oxygen tanks waiting for him. He played in an era where teams flew commercial, practices were tougher, and the game was way more physical. And he still showed up every single night like it was nothing.
But do you think that's harder now for guys? There's social media and all this stuff, so they got to cut through the clutter here a bit, right?
Yeah, that's true. I like to think that if I was playing today,
right,
I like to think that no matter what, my game is going to validate whatever I try to participate in away from the game. It's really tough for the kids today, and most of them do a great job of navigating what you're talking about. That's, as long as you understand that this is always going to be what you're remembered for, basketball and your love for basketball should always be pure. We would play this game, I've always said this, we would play this game for free. We did. And now we just so happen to get paid for it. Generationally, you know, I like to think that most of the time that people will remember Michael Jordan based on what he did on the basketball court and not always the commercials that he did.
Now compare that to today. Back in the 1999 to 2000 season, 58 players played all 82 games, over half the league just doing their job and staying available. Fast forward to the present, and we're seeing the lowest number of full-season players in NBA history. In 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025, it's the weakest era ever when it comes to showing up, and the contrast with Jordan's mentality couldn't be louder. All those seasons set record lows for players appearing in all 82 games, and it's not even close anymore. We went from dozens of guys showing up every night to barely a handful, even with better medical care, better training, and better everything. Yet somehow players are playing less than ever. The whole load management culture is the real issue. It started small, teams resting older players on back-to-backs, but then it blew up fast. From 2017 to 2022, the number of times a star skipped one game of a back-to-back nearly doubled, rising 87%. And once a few big names did it, everyone followed. If LeBron sits to manage his body, why wouldn't the rest? And if Kawhi Leonard can miss 20-plus games a season without heat, why push through minor discomfort? The excuses don't hold up either. Teams claimed load management was science-based, saying rest prevents injuries and extends careers. But the NBA ran its own study, and guess what? It proved the opposite. Load management doesn't actually stop injuries. Joe Dumars, the league's VP of basketball operations, even said it straight. The data shows sitting out games doesn't reduce injuries or fatigue. The only thing it shows is players being slightly less efficient on the second night of a back-to-back. That's it. Not hurt, not injured, just a little less sharp. So what does that tell you? Load management was never about health. It was about comfort, about saving energy for the playoffs, about not wanting to grind through a full season. And maybe that's smart strategically, but it's not necessity. It's a choice, and Jordan would have never made that choice. He treated every game like a chance to prove himself. Every night was a moment to show the fans, the ones who spent real money, that he respected them and the game enough to show up. Jordan even talked about it, saying he never wanted to miss a game because it was an opportunity. And he specifically mentioned the fans sitting way up in the top deck, the ones who probably worked all week just to afford that ticket. Those people deserve to see the best players on the floor, not stars chilling on the bench in street clothes. They paid for the full show, and Jordan felt responsible to deliver that energy every single night. Today's players don't move like that anymore. They sit out national TV games, skip big matchups, rest on the road while playing at home. Fans barely even factor into the decision now. The league tried fixing it back in 2023 with the new player participation policy. Teams couldn't rest multiple stars at once. Healthy players who sat had to be visible in the arena, and you needed at least 65 games to qualify for big awards like MVP. And sure, it helped a little. Star players missed about 15% fewer games the first year. But then everything stalled out again. Players found loopholes, teams started listing tiny injuries instead of rest, and nothing truly changed. It just got disguised better. Here's the perfect example of the gap between Jordan's era and today. Anthony Edwards, one of the brightest young stars in the league, still needed basic help from Jordan himself. A Timberwolves executive told MJ that Edwards struggled against double teams and didn't know how to handle them. And Jordan's response tells you everything. Getting double teamed is the highest respect a defender can give you. It means they're worried about you and know you're dangerous. So the real question becomes, how do you beat it? Jordan's advice was simple. Move without the ball, get into the post, find your scoring spot before the double comes, and make your move early so they can't react. These were basic basketball fundamentals, the stuff Jordan's whole generation mastered. But Edwards, even with all that talent, still hadn't figured it out. And that's not a knock on him. That's a knock on the system. Somewhere along the line, young players stop learning the basics because they're too busy building brands, chasing social media shine, or working on highlight moves instead of the real craft. The fundamentals that win championships just aren't being taught the same way anymore, which leads to the biggest question out there. What actually matters more, greatness or longevity? Modern players stay obsessed with longevity now, always talking about playing 20 years, resting to extend careers, and managing their bodies so they can keep going. Jordan never cared about any of that. He even said it himself. If he burned out, he burned out. If his career ended sooner because he gave everything every night, then so be it. He wasn't trying to play forever. He was trying to squeeze everything out of every single season he had. Look at the results. Jordan played 15 total seasons, really only about 13 full ones after the retirements and the early foot injury, and still ended up with 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, 10 scoring titles, and 9 all-defensive team selections. That's not just impressive, that's almost perfect. That resume is untouched today. His peak was so high and lasted so long that even with a shorter career, he's still the standard. Now compare that to LeBron and Kevin Durant. Combined, they've played 39 seasons, almost 3 times as long as Jordan's peak window. That's nearly 40 years of pro basketball between the two of them. And what do they have to show for it? 6 championships total, 5 MVPs, 6 finals MVPs, 5 scoring titles, and 5 all-defensive selections combined. In almost 4 decades of basketball, they still haven't matched what Jordan accomplished in basically one era of dominance. Twice the time, half the results. That's what happens when you chase longevity instead of greatness. Jordan didn't care about being good for 20 years. He cared about being great every single season he touched the court. And he didn't just say it, he lived it. His teammates remember that mentality clearly. Artist Gilmore once told rookie Jordan to stop diving for loose balls and ease up if he wanted a long career. And Jordan fired back? That's crazy. Because to him, that's what basketball is all about. He wasn't focused on year 15 or year 20. He was focused on that night's game and that season's championship run. Larry Bird moved the same way, throwing his body around, locking up on defense, and doing whatever it took to win. Yeah, Bird's career was shorter because of that intensity, but nobody questions his greatness or says he should have played softer. His dominance came from that fire, not from pacing himself. And the same thing applies to Jordan. If he tried to extend his career by chilling, resting more, or saving energy, would he still be the GOAT? No chance. His sacrifice is what built the legend. Modern players miss that. They think pacing themselves for 20 years will somehow get them the same level of greatness, but that's not how it works. Greatness takes sacrifice. You gotta put everything on the line. Care more about winning than about your body feeling perfect. Jordan got that. Kobe got that. The old school legends lived that. Somewhere along the way, the new generation lost it. They want the glory without the grind, the legacy without the price. And that's exactly why they'll never reach Jordan's level. And the NBA knows it. That's why they brought Jordan back as an ambassador, not to play, but to be a voice, someone who can help fix the cultural issues in today's game. That move is huge because Jordan's been retired for over 20 years and hasn't played meaningful basketball since 2003. Yet when the league needs someone to speak on effort, availability, and respect for the game, they call Michael Jordan. They don't call LeBron, don't call Durant, they call the one guy who set a standard nobody's been able to touch. Jordan's name still carries more weight than anyone playing right now, and his message about competing every night, respecting the fans, and loving the game more than the money hits way harder than anything current stars try to preach. He lived those values, proved they work, and his legacy speaks for itself. He doesn't need to hop online, argue on social media, or drop a podcast explaining his greatness. The 6 rings do the talking. The perfect finals record does the talking. The 10 scoring titles and 9 all-defensive teams do the talking. That's Jordan's real response to every debate. Not words, just results. Whenever people talk about the greatest player ever, the conversation still starts with him. Every new superstar gets measured against him. Every championship run gets compared to his. Every dominant performance gets stacked next to what he did. Longevity won't change that. Not for LeBron, not for Durant. No number of years played or points scored will rewrite the story because fans remember peaks, not mileage. They remember dominance, they remember greatness, and Jordan's peak sat above everyone else's. The numbers make it almost unfair. 13 prime seasons turned into 6 championships, a flawless finals record, 5 MVPs, 10 scoring titles, and 9 all-defensive selections. Meanwhile, today's longevity guys with nearly 40 combined seasons have accomplished less. And that's not an opinion, that's straight up math. It proves Jordan's mindset worked, maximizing every season instead of stretching a career thin over 2 decades leads to better results. Quality beats quantity. Intensity beats longevity. Greatness beats just hanging around the league. So where does that leave us? Is Jordan right? Are today's players too soft, too brand-focused, not hungry enough? Or are today's stars right? Is it smarter to manage your body, play 20 years, and choose comfort over the grind? Honestly, both sides make some valid points. Medical science is better now. We understand rest and recovery way more than in Jordan's era. And playing smarter can definitely help a career last longer. But here's the real question. If you're playing 22 seasons but sitting out 15 games every year and only going full throttle in the playoffs, are you chasing greatness or just stacking checks? Jordan would rather burn out than fade away. He'd rather give everything for 13 years and be remembered as the greatest ever than pace himself for 20 and be remembered as really good for a long time. When you look at the legacies, when you see whose name gets mentioned first in every GOAT debate, when a guy retired for over 2 decades still has more influence than active superstars, it's clear his way worked. The sacrifice, the intensity, the pure love for the game, that's what builds legends. Not longevity, not brand deals, not skipping back-to-backs, showing up every night and proving you're the best. That's the formula. Jordan didn't need 20 years to claim he was the greatest. He needed one moment, one game, one season to prove it. And he had 13 seasons of pure domination, 6 championships, a perfect finals record, and the highest peak anyone has ever touched. That's why, when people think basketball greatness, they don't ask who played the longest. They ask who was the best. And that answer hasn't changed in over 20 years. It's still Michael Jordan, and it probably stays that way forever. What do you think? Should today's players sacrifice everything and chase pure greatness like Jordan did? Or is the modern approach of load management and longevity actually smarter? Drop your answer in the comments, hit that like button if you think the NBA lost its spark, and make sure you subscribe because we're exposing everything the mainstream media won't touch. This conversation isn't over, not even close.